Eager to put a lot of pressure on Eala, and that's the biggest challenge of the tour.
The world number one has already made her position clear about Alex Eala. And Berlin changed everything.
Alex Eala from the Philippines.
Just a few hundred meters away from one of the biggest names in tennis, Alex Eala stood frozen on court 1 at Berlin's Steffi Graf Stadion. Her racket dangled loosely from her left hand, almost as if she had forgotten it was there. Her right hand covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. Moments earlier, the 21-year-old Filipina had completed the biggest win of her week, defeating top 10 star Aryna Sabalenka in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4. Across the net, Svitolina, a former world number 3, owner of 20 career titles, and a player Eala grew up watching on television in Manila, walked forward to shake her hand. The match lasted just 1 hour and 23 minutes. But another number mattered even more. This victory marked Alex Eala's 6th career win over a top 10 opponent, and remarkably, her second in less than 48 hours. When she spoke during the post-match interview, she could barely believe what had happened. "I'm still in shock." Those simple words captured everything. An unseeded wildcard. Only 21 years old. Competing in a WTA 500 event just days before Wimbledon. And suddenly, the entire tennis world was paying attention. Even world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka had already shared her opinion about Eala weeks earlier. During her appearance in the Born for Center Court interview with ABS-CBN, Sabalenka didn't speak about Eala as a lucky underdog. She spoke about her as a future threat, a player she expected to meet on the biggest stages. That statement now feels almost prophetic. Because what unfolded in Berlin between June 18 and June 20, 2026, transformed Sabalenka's prediction into reality. Alex Eala arrived in Berlin ranked outside the world's top 30. She wasn't seeded. Many still viewed her incredible Miami 2025 run as a magical week rather than proof she belonged among the elite. Yes, she had defeated several top players there, including Iga Swiatek, but critics dismissed it as the perfect combination of fast hard courts, confidence, and overwhelming support from Filipino fans. Before Berlin, Eala had never defeated a top 10 player on grass. Her record against Czech opponents stood at just 1 victory and 13 defeats. On paper, she was a promising young talent. Not someone the top stars were preparing their game plans around. Then everything changed. Berlin wasn't just one upset. It was 2. Back-to-back victories over 2 of the tournament's biggest contenders on a surface many believed wasn't even her best. Within just 2 unforgettable nights, the conversation across the WTA completely shifted. No one was asking if Miami had been a fluke anymore. The new question was far more exciting. Was Miami only the beginning? Was that breakthrough the ceiling of Alex Eala's potential? Or simply the floor? Sometimes a scoreboard tells the entire story. And sometimes, it's only where the story truly begins. The numbers alone are impressive, but the story behind them is even bigger. On June 19, 2026, extending into the early hours of June 20 in Manila, Alex Eala produced another career-defining performance. She defeated world number 8 Aryna Sabalenka 6-3, 6-4 in the Berlin quarterfinals, wrapping up the match in just 1 hour and 23 minutes. It was their first meeting. And it wasn't the kind of draw where a favorite crashes out early and leaves an easy path behind. Svitolina entered Berlin in outstanding form, carrying a 35-9 season record, ranked inside the world's top 10, seeded 6th at the tournament, and backed by one of the most accomplished resumes in women's tennis. A former world number 3 and WTA finals champion, she had the experience, the confidence, and the pedigree that usually shine on grass courts. Yet none of that mattered. Eala stayed composed from the opening point to the final winner, closing out the match in straight sets and proving that this victory was earned, not handed to her. What made it even more remarkable was what had happened less than 48 hours earlier. Before facing Svitolina, Eala had already stunned the tournament by eliminating second seed Elena Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon champion and one of the most dangerous grass court players on tour. Rybakina's powerful serve and effortless ball striking have made her one of the toughest opponents on this surface for years. Even so, Eala defeated her in straight sets. One upset can be dismissed as a great day. Two straight victories over elite players on their strongest surface tell a completely different story. By the end of the week, Berlin had become Eala's sixth career victory over a top 10 opponent, and only the second time in her career that she had beaten two top 10 players back-to-back. The first came during her unforgettable Miami breakthrough in 2025. This time, however, everything was different. Different surface, different opponents, different conditions. Same result. At some point, repeated success stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like a pattern. The statistics explain why. Svitolina actually fired more aces than Eala and arrived with the stronger serving numbers on paper. On a grass court, that advantage usually decides matches. Instead, Eala flipped the script. She consistently neutralized Svitolina's serve, attacked the return games with confidence, and forced the former world number 3 into mistake after mistake. While Svitolina piled up unforced errors, Eala stayed remarkably disciplined, making smart decisions under pressure and refusing to give away free points. Her first serve percentage remained consistently high, allowing her to control rallies from the very first shot. The biggest difference wasn't raw power. It was control. It was patience. It was decision-making. Rather than trying to overpower one of the tour's most experienced players, Eala extended rallies, changed pace, mixed spins, and repeatedly forced Svitolina into uncomfortable positions. That performance challenged the narrative surrounding her game. For years, many described Alex Eala primarily as an aggressive left-hander capable of hitting winners from anywhere on the court. Berlin revealed something much more dangerous. Beneath the powerful groundstrokes is a player with tactical maturity, exceptional court awareness, and the ability to solve problems during a match. Those qualities didn't go unnoticed. Veteran commentator and former world number 1 Tracy Austin, who has spent decades analyzing the sport's greatest champions, immediately highlighted what impressed her most. It wasn't Eala's power. It wasn't her athleticism. It was her composure. Austin praised the young Filipina for staying mentally strong in the biggest moments, varying her serve, changing spins, and constantly disrupting Svitolina's rhythm. Two words captured her assessment better than anything else: mental strength, variation. Those are not words typically reserved for promising prospects. They're the words used to describe players who already know how to win at the highest level. And perhaps the most significant endorsement had arrived even before Berlin began. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka had already spoken publicly about Alex Eala during her Born for Center Court interview with ABS-CBN. Her comments weren't a reaction to this tournament. They reflected a belief she had held for months. Berlin simply gave the rest of the tennis world the evidence to understand why. What makes this story remarkable isn't just that Alex Eala won big matches. It's who had already believed she would. Long before Berlin captured the headlines, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka had publicly spoken about Eala as a player destined for tennis' biggest stages. Those weren't emotional comments made after an upset. They were a clear statement of belief. Sabalenka wasn't reacting to a surprise. She was recognizing a future contender before everyone else did. Berlin simply gave the rest of the tennis world the evidence. The rankings soon reflected that shift. After her impressive run to the Berlin semifinals, Eala climbed to a new career-high ranking, rising from the mid-30s to around world number 30 and continuing an incredible rise from outside the top 45 at the beginning of the season. That surge earned her something every young player dreams of: a Wimbledon seed. Entering the championships as the number 29 seed, Eala wasn't arriving as an outsider hoping for a miracle. She arrived as one of the tournament's protected players. For the first time in her career, she stood on the side of the draw that other players hoped to avoid. The momentum didn't stop there. On July 2, 2026, she defeated Maya Joint in straight sets to reach the third round at Wimbledon. It wasn't just another personal milestone. It was history. Eala became the first Filipino woman ever to reach the third round of a Grand Slam singles tournament, a breakthrough celebrated by Wimbledon itself. Just a few years earlier, the Philippines had never had a seeded player at a major. Now it had one competing deep into the sport's most prestigious championship. That achievement reaches far beyond one athlete. Women's tennis has been expanding its presence across the Asia-Pacific region, creating new opportunities and inspiring new audiences. Into that changing landscape stepped Alex Eala, a player carrying not only her own ambitions but also the hopes of an entire tennis nation. And perhaps the most encouraging part of her rise is how she's winning. Her victories have come on different surfaces against different elite opponents. She proved herself on hard courts during her breakout run in Miami. She confirmed her progress on grass in Berlin by defeating multiple top 10 players in the same week. That versatility matters. In professional tennis, sustained success across multiple surfaces is often what separates a temporary breakthrough from a lasting career. Of course, every breakthrough also reveals the next challenge. Just one day after eliminating Aryna Sabalenka, Eala faced rising Czech star Linda Noskova in the Berlin semifinals. Noskova entered the match with a favorable head-to-head history and had already demonstrated how dangerous she could be against Eala earlier in the season. Before stepping onto the court, Eala openly acknowledged the challenge ahead, describing Noskova as an explosive hitter with tremendous experience despite her young age. She knew exactly what she was facing. She competed with determination. But Noskova proved too strong on the day, winning in straight sets. And that's an important part of this story. Progress doesn't erase every obstacle overnight. Sometimes a breakthrough week shows both your greatest strengths and the next level you still have to reach. That's exactly what Berlin revealed. The ceiling remained just ahead, but the floor had risen dramatically. Only days later, Eala carried that confidence into Wimbledon, winning her opening matches and reaching the third round for the first time in her career. The momentum wasn't fading. It was becoming consistent. So what should the verdict be? Not that Alex Eala has already conquered women's tennis. Not that she's guaranteed to become the next superstar. The real verdict is simpler and perhaps even more meaningful. The evidence keeps growing. 6 career victories over top 10 opponents. Back-to-back elite wins on grass within 48 hours. A career-high ranking. A Wimbledon seed. A historic Grand Slam milestone for the Philippines. A Hall of Fame champion praising her mental strength and tactical variety. And the world #1 publicly identifying her as someone built for the sport's biggest courts before these victories ever happened. Return to that unforgettable moment in Berlin. The racket hanging loosely by her side. The tears she couldn't hold back. The disbelief on her face. Those weren't the emotions of someone who had pulled off a lucky upset. They were the emotions of an athlete realizing she had crossed a line she had spent her entire life chasing. The little girl in Manila who once watched Aryna Sabalenka on television had now defeated her on one of the biggest stages in the world. Dreams had become scorelines. And those scorelines had become history. Alex Eala doesn't need to be the most powerful player on the court to belong among the game's elite. She has already earned her place. Today, her name appears alongside Sabalenka, Swiatek, Rybakina, Pegula, and Svitolina not as idols on a poster, but as fellow competitors in the world's biggest tournaments. And if Berlin was the announcement, Wimbledon may only be the beginning.